On September 4th this year, Amazon.com's market cap passed the $1 trillion mark. It is second next to Apple, which hit that mark 1 month earlier. An online retailer that started selling books back in 1995 has become the world's biggest and most influential IT company. Amazon's diversified business model has a vast array of services for its customers. But more than half of its profits come from Amazon Web Services, which is a cloud computing service targeted mostly towards enterprises and institutions. Amazon has established itself as the world's biggest tech giant, with its ever-expanding business models. Despite its creation of value to customers and jobs for workers, not all the players in the economy are happy with Amazon's growth. Amazon is often compared to an apex predator, eating up business opportunities from retail stores. Many point fingers at Amazon for being the cause of the so-called retail apocalypse. Due to the emergence of online retailers and changing demographics, offline stores are closing or experience dwindling sales. The era when retail was king has come to an end. The problem is the closure of offline retail businesses can create further fallout, such as loss of jobs and a decline in the commercial real estate market. We may be jumping to conclusion to say that Amazon is mostly responsible for the retail apocalypse in the US market. But the change America is going through has ramifications for the Korean market. The structural change triggered by mega online businesses can be a lesson to the Korean economy that has a high ratio of small-size retail businesses and mom-and-pop stores. As we often say, the other side of risk is an opportunity. Some enjoy the benefits of a change while others suffer. Only time will tell if the emergence of large online businesses will bring apocalyptic results. Amazon hit $1 trillion following Apple in August. Amazon is the second company ever to hit the $1 trillion market cap. The first company was Apple, which hit the mark 1 month earlier. So we talk about this hitting the $1 trillion market cap. Market cap is short for market capitalization, which means the total value of shares that are being traded publicly. So if you took all of Amazon's shares in the stock market, added it all up, the value of all those shares would equal $1 trillion. Tech behemoths are gobbling up the competition by expanding their business strategies and outpricing the competition. So we got three things. So I said tech behemoths. A behemoth is a very large animal, or we can describe it as a very large person, kind of a big beast. So when we say a tech behemoth, that means a very, very large company, like an Amazon, an Apple, an Oracle. Those things are giant and they have lots of money. So we call them behemoths. And they are gobbling up the competition. To gobble up something is to kind of eat aggressively. So if you have a plate of food and you're shoving the food in your mouth quickly and a lot of it, you are gobbling it up. So we say we can also use it to competition. So they're eating up the competition, gobbling up the competition means eating very aggressively. And then they're expanding their business strategies and outpricing the competition. To outprice someone means to drop your prices lower. So, for example, if you're going to go buy a t-shirt and it's $10, but you see the exact same t-shirt at another store or online for $8, the online store has outpriced the retail store. So we say outpricing means to drop your prices lower than the competition. By offering better service, cheaper prices, and more options to customers, Amazon has emerged as the biggest kid on the block in the tech world. So the last part of that sentence, Amazon emerged. To emerge is to come out or to appear as the biggest kid on the block. The biggest kid on the block is an expression we use for the most powerful person, the richest company, the most powerful country in kind of a large area. So when you were a child, you could see the biggest kid in your neighborhood or on a block, means on a street, was the most powerful. He could beat up anybody. It could be a good kid or a bad kid, a good force or a bad force. So, for example, if you have a region where there's a lot of war and conflict, people are trying to be the biggest kid on the block. They're trying to be the most powerful. Or right now, militarily, America is the biggest kid on the block. China is building its military to become the biggest kid on the block. And then when the two biggest kids on the block have a conflict, usually there's a fight. So we apply it to the private sector too. So, the biggest kid on the block now with two ones are Amazon and Apple. Brick and mortar stores have had to close their doors due to online competition. The smallest of these stores have been hurt the most by online retailers. So earlier we mentioned like the brick and mortar. So when we talk about a physical store or a retail store that you go and visit, you go there, you try on some clothes, you buy something, we call that a brick and mortar store. Brick is referred to the stone and mortar means cement. It's an older expression a long time ago when all buildings were built with brick and mortar. Obviously, they're built with metal and other types of wood now, but we still use the expression a brick and mortar store. So if you want to try on some clothes and they only have an online selection, there is no brick and mortar store. You must shop online. As the popularity of online retailers grow, smaller physical stores cannot compete and thus have to shut down their operations. So I said smaller physical stores. It's another expression we use for brick and mortar or retail location. The creation of new technology always leads to the replacement of older technologies. This is the natural order of business and evolution of modern technology. It should not be interrupted. So I said this is the natural order. So we talk about how things work naturally or through evolution. So for example, the natural order of technology or business, we used to use typewriters, but now we don't. We use laptops and computers. But if the government put regulations on you cannot make a computer or a smartphone, we would still be using typewriters. So the natural order is how things improve or evolve. Stopping technological advancements to save aging businesses would not improve the economy in the long run. So we say, to save aging businesses. These are businesses that are getting older. We also refer to them as dinosaurs. So a dinosaur in English is something or someone or a company that's kind of old. It's no longer matters. It does things in a very old way. It's not new and efficient. So we call something, like for example, the typewriter is kind of a dinosaur technology. Or if a person uses a typewriter, he or she would be kind of a dinosaur. Online tech giants have created an environment where smaller businesses cannot survive. The government needs to step in and prevent the loss of employment and potential real estate market crashes. So I said online tech giants. Like before, we said behemoths. Tech giants are the biggest technology companies or online retailers, such as Apple, Amazon. And then I said the government needs to step in and prevent the loss of employment. So when someone has to step into a situation, it usually means there's conflict between two or more parties. So for example, if you see two people in your office or your family fighting and you want to stop it, you would step in and try to resolve the situation or stop the fighting. So when the government needs to step in, that means they need to get involved in the process. That's what we mean by to step into a situation. Government regulations should be considered as larger companies gain more and more market share. It is possible that local businesses would need to file for bankruptcies and thus would lead to further issues in the real estate market. So we said larger companies gain more and more market share. Your market share is the percentage of how much you are selling in the market. So I think in Korea, Samsung phones, smartphones, they have the dominant market share, maybe 75%. I'm just guessing, but that would be the larger market share. The smaller market share would be every other phone, LG, Apple, what have you. And then I said that local businesses would need to file for bankruptcies or file for bankruptcy. It means when a business is no longer able to pay its bills or its loans back, it has to file for bankruptcy. It means they cannot pay their bills and have no more money. And it's kind of an official way of getting out of your financial problems. Thanks, guys. Thanks for downloading. Talk to you next week. Bye-bye.